Have you felt unusually tired lately? Maybe a little foggy in the afternoon, your ankles slightly swollen, your energy dipping for no clear reason, and told yourself it's just stress, just aging, just another long week. What if I told you those subtle signs could be your kidneys quietly losing function right now, and you wouldn't feel real pain until nearly half of that function is already gone? My name is Dr. Mark Ellis, and I need you to hear this carefully. In the United States, millions of people are walking around with silent kidney decline, not because they ignored their health, not because they felt sick, but because the damage builds without noise, without drama, without warning, until a routine blood test changes everything. And here's what makes this even more urgent. One of the most overlooked triggers isn't what people eat, it's what they drink every single day. The morning habit, the afternoon pick-me-up, the harmless beverage that feels normal, routine, safe. Small daily choices that don't feel dangerous at all, until years later when creatinine rises and GFR begins to fall. But before fear takes over, let me give you something far more powerful than fear: clarity. Because there are 3 simple science-supported drinks that can reduce inflammation inside the kidneys, delicate filters, protect the tiny blood vessels that keep them alive, and support natural detoxification if you use them strategically and consistently. And by the time we finish here, you'll know exactly how to turn what's already in your kitchen into a daily system that protects your kidneys long before serious damage ever begins. Let's start with something most people completely underestimate: chemical damage. Not dramatic damage, not emergency room damage. I'm talking about the kind that builds quietly every single day inside the microscopic filters of your kidneys. Your kidneys contain about 1 million tiny filtration units called glomeruli. They are delicate. They rely on smooth blood flow and low inflammation to function properly. But modern life, high blood sugar spikes ultra-processed food. Chronic stress creates oxidative stress, a biological process that acts like internal rust. You won't feel it happening. There's no alarm, no pain, just slow, silent deterioration of the very filters that keep toxins out of your bloodstream. This is where black coffee, real black coffee, changes the narrative. Not the caramel latte, not the whipped cream energy boost. Plain black coffee contains powerful antioxidants, especially chlorogenic acid compounds known to neutralize oxidative stress before it damages blood vessel lining. And here's what makes this more than just a wellness trend. Multiple large U.S. population studies have found that individuals who consume 1 to 3 cups of black coffee per day show a statistically lower risk of developing chronic kidney disease or experiencing rapid kidney decline. That doesn't mean coffee is magic. It means in the right form and the right amount, it may protect endothelial function, the inner lining of blood vessels that determines how well blood flows through your organs. And when it comes to kidney survival, blood flow is everything. But let me tell you a story that changed the way one of my patients saw his healthy routine. He was 56 years old, avoided soda, rarely drank alcohol. He proudly told me he started every morning with coffee instead of sugary breakfast drinks. It sounded responsible until we looked closer. 2 large flavored coffee beverages from a popular chain. Nearly 40 grams of sugar before 9 a.m. His fasting glucose crept upward. His blood pressure edged higher. His creatinine followed the same quiet trajectory. It wasn't coffee damaging his kidneys. It was sugar hiding inside something that looked harmless. When he switched to plain black coffee brewed at home and eliminated syrups, something subtle but powerful happened. His metabolic markers stabilized, not overnight, not dramatically, but steadily, and steady is what protects kidneys. Here's the uncomfortable question: has your coffee quietly turned into dessert? Because this is where many Americans get it wrong in 2024 and 2025. Coffee itself isn't the villain. The additives are: the syrups, the liquid sugar, the oversized portions marketed as premium. Algorithms push convenience and flavor, but your kidneys respond to chemistry, not marketing. Now, before you rush to pour another cup, there's nuance here. More is not better. Excess caffeine can elevate heart rate and stress certain individuals. The protective window appears to sit around 1 to 3 cups per day, and ideally drink water first. Hydrate before you stimulate. Coffee after breakfast, not on an empty stomach, to reduce unnecessary cortisol spikes that amplify inflammatory stress. And if you're sensitive to caffeine, decaf is not a downgrade. Many antioxidants remain intact. The goal isn't stimulation. The goal is vascular protection. So yes, reducing oxidative stress is powerful. Black coffee used strategically can help shield those microscopic filters from chemical wear and tear. But here's the truth most people don't realize. Even a clean filter can fail under constant pressure. And knowing how to reduce inflammation is only the first layer, because there's another force more mechanical, more relentless that may be damaging your kidneys every single day. And we need to talk about that next. Now let's talk about something far more aggressive than chemical damage, mechanical force. Because even if you reduce oxidative stress with black coffee, your kidney filters can still be slowly destroyed by one relentless pressure, high blood pressure. Hypertension doesn't feel dramatic. It doesn't scream. Most people live with 140/90 and call it a little high. But inside your kidneys, that little high acts like a constant hydraulic surge pushing against delicate filtration membranes every second of the day. Imagine running water through a fine mesh screen at elevated force for 10, 15, 20 years. The mesh stretches, it scars, it stiffens. That's exactly what elevated blood pressure does to the glomeruli. And once scarring forms, filtration efficiency drops. Waste lingers longer in circulation. Creatinine rises. The decline isn't sudden, it's cumulative. This is where hibiscus tea becomes more than a wellness trend. It becomes strategic. Hibiscus is rich in anthocyanins and polyphenols, plant compounds studied for their vascular protective effects. Multiple clinical trials have shown that regular consumption of hibiscus tea can reduce both systolic and diastolic blood pressure in adults with mild to moderate hypertension. In some cases, reductions were comparable to first-line lifestyle interventions recommended by physicians before medication escalation. That matters, because lowering pressure means reducing mechanical stress on your kidney filters. It gives those microscopic structures a chance to function without constant strain. I had a patient in her early 60s, active, relatively healthy, not overweight. Her blood pressure hovered around 145/90 for years. "It's just my baseline," she told me. But baseline doesn't mean harmless. We replaced her daily soda with unsweetened hibiscus tea in the afternoon. Nothing extreme, no crash diet, just a strategic swap. Within 8 weeks, her systolic numbers dropped significantly. More importantly, her kidney labs stopped creeping upward. But here's the catch most people miss. If you sweeten your hibiscus heavily, you cancel out the benefit. Sugar reintroduces inflammation. Insulin spikes affect vascular tone. You can't fight pressure with one hand while feeding inflammation with the other. And if you are already on antihypertensive medication, this matters even more. Hibiscus can amplify blood pressure lowering effects. That's not a warning to avoid it. It's a reminder to monitor intelligently. Strategy beats extremes every time. Now pause for a second. Do you actually know your blood pressure today, not what it was 5 years ago today? Because millions of Americans don't check regularly. And silent pressure is exactly what drives silent kidney decline. But here's where it gets even more interesting. You can reduce inflammation, you can lower mechanical pressure, and your kidneys can still struggle. Because even a relaxed, protected filter cannot function efficiently without adequate flow. And there's one overlooked factor far more common than people realize that quietly slows kidney filtration, even in individuals with decent blood pressure. But only knowing this about hibiscus and pressure control is not enough, because there is another factor potentially even more dangerous in the long run that we need to address next. Now we arrive at the factor almost no one talks about seriously enough: flow. You can reduce oxidative stress, you can lower blood pressure, but if there isn't enough fluid moving through your kidneys, filtration efficiency still declines. Your kidneys depend on steady perfusion, consistent blood flow to clear creatinine, urea, and metabolic waste. Even mild dehydration, just a 1 to 2% drop in total body water, has been shown to reduce renal blood flow and influence filtration dynamics. It doesn't feel dramatic, it feels normal. Slight fatigue, darker urine in the afternoon, a subtle dip in mental clarity. But physiologically, that small reduction in hydration status can compound over years. Think of your kidneys like a high-precision filtration plant. Clean filters help, stable pressure helps, but without adequate water moving through the system, waste concentrates, circulation slows, and microscopic stress accumulates. This is where cucumber-based hydration becomes strategic, not trendy. Cucumbers are approximately 95% water. When blended with filtered water, fresh lemon and mint, they create a hydration-dense drink that supports fluid intake without excessive sugar, without artificial additives, and without overwhelming potassium levels, the way fruit-heavy smoothies sometimes can. In a culture saturated with energy drinks, flavored beverages, and hydration products loaded with sweeteners, simplicity becomes powerful. I worked with a 49-year-old executive who insisted he drank a lot of fluids. He carried a large tumbler everywhere, but inside was mostly flavored sparkling water and the occasional energy drink. His labs showed borderline elevated creatinine. Nothing alarming yet, but trending upward. We replaced his mid-afternoon beverage with a simple cucumber water blend and emphasized consistent plain hydration throughout the day. Within months, his afternoon fatigue improved, his urine color normalized, and his kidney markers stabilized rather than continuing to climb. It wasn't hype. It wasn't a detox cleanse. It was restored flow. Research consistently shows that individuals with chronically low fluid intake have a higher risk of kidney stone formation and progressive kidney dysfunction compared to those who maintain steady hydration patterns. The key word is steady, not extreme. Overhydration can dilute electrolytes. Gallon challenges are not the answer. Pale yellow urine, stable energy, consistent intake. That's the target. Let me ask you directly, how much actual water do you drink daily? Not coffee, not soda, not alcohol, just water. If you don't track it, you might be overestimating. And overestimation is how mild dehydration becomes a chronic pattern. So now we have three layers working together. Black coffee reduces oxidative stress and supports vascular integrity. Hibiscus tea lowers mechanical pressure inside delicate kidney filters. Cucumber-based hydration restores the flow those filters depend on. Chemical stress reduced, mechanical force controlled, fluid balance restored. But here's the truth most people underestimate. The decisive factor isn't in the antioxidant content. It isn't in the polyphenols. It isn't even in the hydration level. But only knowing this is not enough, because there is one more element potentially more powerful than any drink that ultimately determines whether your kidneys stabilize or continue to decline. If there is one message I want you to walk away with today, it's this. Your kidneys do not fail overnight. They decline quietly, slowly, often without pain. But they can also be protected quietly, slowly, and consistently. You are not powerless in this process. Small daily decisions matter more than dramatic changes you try once and abandon a week later. Choose black coffee over sugar-loaded drinks. Replace soda with unsweetened hibiscus tea. Prioritize real hydration instead of assuming you've had enough. Check your blood pressure regularly. Ask your doctor about your creatinine and estimated GFR. Know your numbers, because awareness is not anxiety, awareness is control. And control gives you options long before problems become irreversible. If this video helped you see your daily habits differently, do yourself a favor, save it. You may not need to rewatch it tomorrow, but months from now, when life gets busy and routines slip, you'll want this reminder. And subscribe to this channel so you don't miss future evidence-based guidance designed to help you protect your kidneys and overall health before damage progresses too far. I share practical science-backed strategies here regularly, and my goal is simple: to give you tools you can actually use. Your kidneys work for you 24 hours a day. They filter, regulate balance, and protect your body even while you sleep. Taking a few intentional minutes each day to support them is not complicated, but it is powerful. And if you start now, not next year, not after a scare, but now, you give yourself the best possible chance to maintain strong kidney function for decades to come. You still have time, and that time matters.